What's behind the latest push for research on gender transition? Here's what you need to know. The Trump administration has directed the National Institutes of Health, or NIH, to research the physical and mental health effects of gender transition. This includes studies on regret and detransition among both children and adults. An internal NIH memo states that funding announcements for this research are expected within 6 months.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for joining me today with this really awesome news. Now, of course, the trans activists are losing their poo-poo over all of this, and sorry, but this has to happen. Now, I can't wait to show you all of what I have and how I can just show you how they are so full of it and they create lies. And the reason why these kind of things are happening is because they were never honest and they were advocating for all the wrong things. And, you know, sometimes when you push too hard, you're going to get pushed on harder back. So I'm going to show you how they continually spread misinformation and why these kind of studies, to me, as a transsexual person who transitioned over 30 years ago, agrees with these types of studies. And funny thing is we didn't need these kind of studies before, but because of these so-called trans activists, now we need them. So with that, let's just get right into it, because I think this is going to be a really great video and I'm super excited to do it. I'm really happy that the Trump administration is starting to do these kinds of studies. So with that, because we have a lot of detransitioners who have been fighting to be acknowledged. As you know, they don't get acknowledged in the trans community. They get pushed out and they get talked down to and they get treated like garbage. It's actually insane to me. So with that, let me just finish this little piece here.
However, the directive has sparked concerns. Advocates and researchers worry about the language used, like social transition and chemical and surgical mutilation, and the potential for political bias. Some argue existing data shows low rates of regret, while others say more research is needed. Critics fear these findings could influence state laws restricting gender-affirming care. Stay tuned as this story unfolds. What do you think?
You know what blows my mind is that they don't want these studies. The trans activists don't want these studies. Why wouldn't you want these studies, especially when there's such a high rate of detransitioners? Now, I'm going to show you how they continually, and it's so funny, they always say the same thing. They've been saying it for the last 10 years. There's a low rate of detransitioners. It's literally stayed at 1%. They all say 1%. They say it's only 1%. How is that possible? For 10 years, it's literally stayed at 1% when we can see huge amounts of these young people regretting their transition. Now, that can mean anything from a social transition all the way to a medical transition. And that's still regret. And that's still being put into that system. Of course, I would say that the medical transition is probably worse than the social transition, but we can't discount the mental anguish this has caused a lot of these young people. And so why these studies are important. And I think it's irresponsible for a transgender community to not want these studies. Okay. So they've had the opportunity, and I'll show you, they've been given money by the NIH to do research on this, and they haven't exposed that research, which I will show you here. So they've been given plenty of money, plenty of opportunities to show that puberty blockers work, that transition works, where they haven't been able to show that. And all the studies that they have done have been debunked, on top of the fact that much of it is very biased and not done in an unbiased space, which is how an actual how it should actually be done. Studies should be done in a non-biased space. It's just ridiculous behavior. So I want to, well, here, let me bring this up. This is from NPR, where it says White House orders NIH to research trans regret and detransition. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I have a lot more stuff I want to show you. But basically, of course, they're going to have a, and I love how they put regret. So they put here, the directive was shared with NPR by 2 current NIH staffers who did not want to be identified for fear of retribution. Isn't that just a sign of something to me? Who wouldn't want to, for fear of retribution? What? Come on. It is from acting NIH director Mark Memely, sorry you guys, and says the NIH must study the impact of social transition and or chemical and surgical mutilation among children who transition. Specifically, the White House wants the NIH to study regret, in quotes, and detransition. Why are they in quotes? Among children and adults who have transitioned. I want to go down here because they're freaking out on the wording. Okay, they're totally freaking out on the wording here. It says blah blah blah. I want to show you this. What they're looking for is a political answer, not a scientific one. How do you know that? How you're making an assumption. How do you know that they're not looking for a scientific? Okay, let's not all of a sudden just go straight to it's political. It's not political. We have a lot of young people who have been hurt from transitioning. So says Adrian Shanker, who served as Deputy Assistant Security for Health Policy at HHS under President Biden. Well, there you go. That should be an alarm for everyone who cares about the scientific integrity of the national. Oh, as if it had integrity under Biden. Give me a break, man. Wow, seriously? Don't let me even get into that. Among the red flags in the directive is the language, Shanker and others say, chemical or surgical mutilation. These are deeply offensive terms, says Harry Barbie, an assistant professor at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. This terminology has no place in serious scientific or public health discourse, Barbie says. The language has been historically used to stigmatize trans people. Don't speak for me, okay? Even the phrase regret and detransition can be weaponized. Wow, don't speak for me. I actually have no issues with those words being used, okay? So let me show you the definition. The definition of mutilation is the action of mutilating or being mutilated. And then other words for that or similar words are maiming, disfigurement, okay, so, and damage. I'm sorry, but I have done videos on these young kids, and they have been actually disfigured. So mutilation can be used in a way where I see young kids who are having top surgery that looks the most insane thing. And you can go on my channel, and I'll put a link to those videos where I can show you so many top surgeries that are literal disfigurement. So, to you, Mr. whatever your name, Harry, no, I disagree with you. That language is important because that language does show this is happening. They don't like me because I'm going to push against all this, and I actually bring it on, Trump. Bring that research and study on. We have been waiting for this to happen because we will show you that these kids are being put into a space that they should never be put into. So I want to bring up this person here. This YouTuber whose name is Matt Bernstein. I'm not a fan of him, and I'm going to call him him. He goes by he, they, but that's not my problem. And he's a gay man who I think now might identify as non-binary. Not my problem, okay? So he's like 26 years old or something, and he thinks he knows everything. And, he's done some hit videos on me, but, I haven't really care about that because I'm 62 and go ahead, buddy. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. So you can just go ahead and think, but he has a huge following, this guy, okay? And he is part of the problem, big time, because he has a huge young people following. He's basically just a gay makeup dude, another one of those like JVN, who now got into this space and they're not, they just really indoctrinate a lot of these kids. He's also, I don't want to get into my political beliefs. I think you all know that. I am not a pro-Palestinian. He's one of those kind of people championing and being part of that whole pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas and pro-terrorist group. I interviewed this person whose name is Maya Poet, and she is a detransitioner. Now, I want you to see this, and then I'm going to say something. So this is what this guy put on his channel lately, and it got like 450,000 views, okay? So this guy doesn't like detransitioners because they go against the narrative.
When I think about the spread of gender ideology, I liken it a lot to another internet cult of the 2010s, which would have been ISIS.
Hello, and welcome back to a bit fruity. I'm Matt Bernstein. I'm so happy that you're here. About 5 months ago, I woke up to a tweet. Kat, would you like to read the tweet? You have not seen this.
Tomorrow marks my 1-year anniversary of not wearing a breast binder. On October 7th, 2023, I awoke to a siren. I didn't have enough time to squeeze myself into the barbaric breast squashing device I had used to pass as a man. I had only enough time to run to a bomb shelter. What? Wait, oh, are they from Israel?
They were living in Israel at the time, yes.
Okay.
Do you see where this is going now?
Yes, okay.
Oh, where's it going, Matt? You don't like that, do you? Okay, you don't like the fact that Maya lived in Israel and Maya's story doesn't actually go along with your story, okay? This is an actual young girl who I interviewed and I'm actually friends with, who suffered and dealt with things. And you people are just so hilarious how you're okay with other people's trans stories if it just keeps going on, okay? But the minute it goes against what you say and the fact that this person is a Jewish person living in Israel and you are so anti-Israel that now you're going to pick this person apart. This is why I'm showing you that this guy, Matt, is so full of himself and he just spreads the hate. He's a hater, okay? Because if you really did care about the trans community, you would not hate on these young. This is a young woman who suffered in a. And why is her story now you're acting like, ooh, see where this is going? It's so unbelievably disrespectful. laughing.
I was
Barf, laughing at a young person who's dealing with a very difficult situation in a worn, torn part of the world that's just out of control. And they're sitting here laughing in the comfort of their little nice spaces here in the United States. It's so barfy.
like, why are they running to? Okay, all right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. This is about to be as ridiculous as you think it's going to be. But let me not get ahead of myself. I thought I'd seen it all.
Oh,
but
really?
Hamas made me detransition. Felt like an AI-generated attempt to make me lose my mind in yet another new and ever more creative way. The tweet came from a user called Maya Poet, someone I've never heard of at this point, but someone whose lore I would quickly become enveloped in. This is going to be an episode about detransitioners, or people who once identified as transgender may have gone through various steps of socially and or medically transitioning genders, and then at some point decided, this isn't for me. While rare, first of all, detransition is something that happens. And I first and foremost just want to say that I think...
Is he going to say 1%? Let's take a bet right now. It's rare. It very rarely happens. It's only 1%. Let's just take a bet.
Detransitioners deserve support, societally, medically. They deserve to have their stories heard, not because they're at odds with the life-saving, gender-affirming care that trans people need.
Life-saving, really? Life-saving? How would you know? You're not even doing life-saving gender care. You're not even a trans person. You're a they, he, gay man.
In fact, I think that they can make it better because the perspectives of the relatively small number of people who don't ultimately pursue a lifelong transition.
See, they keep saying small amount. And just hold on here. Just watch.
Can contribute to better care, not only for others who detransition, but also for trans people. But unfortunately, that's not what's been happening on the world stage, and especially not on the national stage here in the United States. The political right has found value in exploiting the stories of detransition.
Because you, on the left, wouldn't give voice to these people, okay? You don't give any voice. You woke liberal people are so against giving any other opposing view the stage. So who gives these people stage? The right. They give me, okay? Me, the right. The right has the conversation with me. When I'm not on that. I'm a middle ground person, okay? I was a registered Democrat. I'm no longer a registered Democrat. I was a registered Democrat my whole life. So you're not looking at the whole picture. People go where their voice is being heard.
detransitioners in their ongoing war against transgender people, pitting them at
Also, they're not at war with transgender. I'm friends with so many of these detransitioners, so I can prove you wrong, okay? Not just me, a lot of us transsexual people are, because we actually care about them. So you're wrong right there. They don't hate us. They hate people like you who are pushing an agenda on these young people who got hurt by this situation.
odds with one another and paying detransitioners willing to participate in.
They're not paying them. And even if they were, you're getting paid to push pro Hamas nonsense, and you're getting paid on your YouTube channel. So what's the difference? And you're an influencer on TikTok who makes money. So what's the difference?
That narrative with podcasting contracts, White House visits.
See how they don't like it? They just don't like when other people, okay, are doing things basically what they're doing, but on the other side of the aisle.
And of course, money. These incentives have created some celebrity detransitioners. The big
You mean like celebrity influencers like Jeffrey, Dylan, you, that other weirdo, all of these people right here that I'm showing you, okay? All of these are paid influencers to actually influence young people to transition.
biggest of which is Chloe Cole, a 20-year-old who, at the time we're recording this, was at the White House yesterday, lobbying against what she calls radical gender ideology. Just a couple weeks ago, the White House held an event for Detrans Awareness Day and invited a bunch of right-wing detransitioner micro-influencers to...
Okay, but these people are so crazy. Remember when Biden was in office and you invited all of your people to the White House and your friend Rose Montoya was showing her boobies and so it's literally the same thing. You just don't like it because you're not getting invited now. The hypocrisy is crazy. Sorry, your president isn't in office now. The one who invited all you wingnuts to the White House before. Now it's their turn and they get to go to the White House and you're mad about it.
Washington, D.C. for it. Today, we're going to be talking about one Maya Poet, the detrans influencer I mentioned above, who detransitioned because October 7th, I guess. It's a whole thing. We'll get into it.
Okay, you're so gross. You're just gross. I can't. You know what? That's enough of that guy because he's so full of himself. And also, he's making fun of October 7th. He's making fun of somebody's really insane experience. That her story, you should listen to the podcast I did with her. It's actually sad and crazy and insane. And she went on to be very outspoken. They don't like it when you become up there and really at the forefront of helping these studies finally get funded by our tax dollars. So as a taxpayer, I want that to happen. I don't care what you say, buddy. These things need to happen, whether or not you like it or not. And stop saying it's a small amount of people. You've been saying 1% for the last 10 years. So I want to show you this. Watch this.
Pro-trans crowds' favorite talking points is that rates of regret and detransition are low. They will often say that the rate of detransition is 1%, maybe 2%. But it turns out that talking point is not true. A new study on a sample of about 1,000 transitioners has found a detransition rate of nearly 30%.
Bam, bam, and bam.
Tip to Megan McArdle from the Washington Post for calling attention to this study. It is called The Continuation of Gender-Affirming Hormones Among Transgender Adolescents and Adults. Study was published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, and it found that the 4-year trans hormone continuation rate was just 70.2%. That's a far cry from the 98%, 99% statistic that the trans activists promote.
Why do you think they keep lying about it? What if you really care and think it's gender affirming, life saving stuff? Why wouldn't you want to be on the up and up about it? What I do. I don't want to lose this space. I'm not fighting against the transitioning. I'm fighting against nonsense. I'm fighting against bad transitioning. I'm fighting against lies and deceit. I'm fighting against children being put in this space. I'm fighting for adult transition in a safe, secure space like me. I am proof. I will keep showing you. I am proof. And I know you all don't show up here because you hate me. You all show up because you actually respect that I have gone through this. I am honest. It has bettered my life. It is actually real medicine that really helps people who need this medicine. And these people are making it so it's like they actually don't want it, but they're pretending like they want it, if that makes sense. It's like they're not making any sense whatsoever, because if they really did care about this, they would want to be straight up honest about it. And that's why the whole thing is so absurd and ridiculous. So I'm going to bring this up.
And this is something you've been looking into and something that we've spoken about a few times in the last couple of catch-ups we've done. And it's about the administration cutting funding for research to improve the health and lives of transgender people. What's been going on here recently?
So the Trump administration has cut virtually all federal funds, including NIH research grants, to understand and improve the health of transgender people.
And I'm going to show you why right after this.
And so now there's, virtually no research left in this field, but
because you all scammed. You scammed this research. It was biased research. It wasn't real research. You brought trans community. You brought this on yourself. I can't stand when people mess something up or fuck something up and then they refuse to take responsibility for it. You fucked it up. We were actually getting funding to figure out how things and you fucked it all up, and none of you are going to take responsibility for it.
I got wind, thanks to an email that I reviewed, of new research that the administration would like to fund in this field, but it's quite specific what they would like to look at, and specifically to study regret and detransition following social transition.
You had your chance. You had your chance to study why people need to transition. No one contacted me. No one said, hey, wait, we got this guy, Buck Angel, who's been doing this for a long time. And it's obviously helped him. No one ever. And also I have some buddies who transitioned along with me or later than me, 20 years or so. None of us were contacted for these studies. Not one single. You'd think you'd want to contact the elders in the community to see how it's going. What are the health problems? Not one of them. You had your chance to study this. And now you don't get your chance because you fucked up. And now you got all these kids who are suffering, okay, and you're out acting like they don't exist when they clearly do exist, which I will show you. Hold on. Let's finish this.
And chemical and surgical mutilation of children and adults.
Yeah.
So what they're referring to here is gender-affirming surgery, and they're using this language that scientists say is absolutely unscientific. And it's quite specific. The focus...
Gender affirming surgery is also not scientific. It's made up.
Is to study regret and detransition.
Oh my God, the way he's saying it, regret and detransition, as if it's a bad thing.
So this is people who get gender affirming surgery and decide or realize later on maybe that they regret doing that.
Yeah.
This has been a big talking point among the Trump administration, but the published research on this, some of the estimates are as low as 1%.
Should have taken a bet there. 1%. They love to say 1%. BS. Call BS on that. There's no way from 10 years ago that you've been saying 1% to now that it's still 1%. Not possible. Also, I want to see those studies. I've never seen those studies. The only studies I've seen are by your own people. Every time I go to look for stuff, it's always by LGBT organizations or trans and queer organizations. Nobody outside of that space is doing these studies. Okay, so now they're going to start doing these studies. That's what you're scared of. You're scared of the fact that they're going to show you that that's not true about 1%. Okay, so now I'm going to show you why all your funding is being taken away, okay, and why you don't get to do this anymore, and because your ethics weren't there. They gave you money to do they gave you money to do studies, which you did not expose, okay? Watch this.
I bet you didn't know that a major study on puberty blockers almost didn't see the light of day. Here's why. Dr. Johanna Olson Kennedy, a prominent advocate for transgender youth care, led a $10 million study funded by the National Institutes of Health.
A $10 million study funded by NIH, people.
This study followed 95 children over 2 years, investigating the effects of puberty blockers.
Wow.
Surprisingly, the results showed no significant improvement in mental health. However, Olson Kennedy has faced criticism for withholding these findings. Critics argue that this breaches research ethics.
You think? Oh my God, she totally didn't expose her. That's illegal. The NIH funded it, and you're not going to even expose it.
Depriving the public of crucial information. They stress the importance of transparency and unbiased reporting in scientific research. Olson Kennedy defends her decision, fearing the results could be misused by opponents of gender-affirming care.
Then why'd you do it in the first place? Why'd you do it in the first place then? So if they would have come out okay, then you would have put it out. But because they didn't come out okay, you fear that they're going to be used against. Against what? What are they going to be used against? Against not doing this to children? Wouldn't you think that's something you would want? These crazy wingnut gender-affirming doctors are nuts. And you need to be stripped of your license, lady, because you're not a doctor, okay? You are something else, and you have an agenda, okay? You have 100% an agenda, like a mad scientist, to screw with other people's kids.
But this raises a critical question. Should researchers hide results that contradict their expectations?
No.
The debate over transgender healthcare for youth remains heated, with divided public opinion on puberty blockers. This controversy underscores the need for rigorous and impartial research to inform healthcare policy and ensure the well-being of transgender youth.
Oh my God, people. Wait, sorry.
Transparency in science is essential.
Transparency in science is essential. Unbiased studies, all of that needs to happen, okay? But what the hell is wrong with the trans community? They are hiding something. They are 100% hiding something, and now it's all gonna come out, and they're freaking out, okay? They're freaking. You can't use mutilation. Oh yeah, you can. 100% you can. So let me, I just want to show you this real quick here. This is called Reddit Detrans group, okay? There are 50, do you see this right here, this number? 57,000 people in this group. Just go look at it for yourself, and it will actually just blow your mind. The amount of things people say in here. I'm going to read this first one. If you're thinking of stopping HRT, do it as soon as effing possible. You'll save yourself a lot of physical and emotional pain. I am so angry right now, and I wish there were someone I could hold accountable. But oh my God, it makes me so sad. I made the choice to go on testosterone, an ill-informed one, but an informed one. I don't know. I disagree with informed consent. I wasn't smart enough to make that decision at the time. I'm upset, and my womanhood, I want to cry, you guys, was stolen from me. My transition was a coping mechanism for the abuse I better beep that out. I was going through as a teenager. My childhood was stolen and my womanhood was stolen. And you could just go on and on. 15 years of T versus 1 point off. And most of the majority of the kids in this space are young girls. So when I see Matt, a dude, saying stuff like that with a trans woman who's also male, okay, the majority of these kids are female who are doing this, not male, female. So you don't get to talk about this, buddy. It's mind-blowing. I mean, this whole group is so shocking. The things that are said in here, and don't tell me there's hardly any 1%. There's 57,000. Then there's another group called Actual Detrans, and that one also has like 12,000 people in it. So right there, how many is that? Come on, man. They're trying to hide this from you. I'm not. I'm trying to expose this to you because I have not only self-preservation, but there are transsexual people who need this medicine, okay? They need it in order to move forward and become functioning adults in this world and deal with whatever's going on. And it takes a lot of mental health care and a lot of effort to get to this space. It's not just I'm trans. I just am mind blown. So I want to bring this last one up here for you.
It's not if somebody regrets to medically transition, it is when.
I regret my bottom surgery.
The older transes have spoken, and the shit is getting real. This is a detransition trend after a trans trend that I have been keeping an eye on for the last 5 years or so. At first, it was as simple as noticing that the overwhelming number of young trans people are female and the majority of older trans people are male. That was certainly strange and definitely a societal, cultural phenomenon and not a biological or chemical one. Then it became a game of what other mental illness does this person have instead of gender dysphoria. In this study of trans patients, the frequency of personality disorders was 81.4%. The most frequent personality disorder was narcissistic personality disorder, 57%. As said in this article, the world has also romanticized things like autistic people, autism. A lot of these people with autism believe that they're trans when they're not. Then it became, okay, who is just doing this for attention? It's giving main character syndrome.
It's so sad, people. It is. Thank you, Trump, for bringing attention, giving some funding to this so we can stop this already, so we can stop this self-ID, we can stop people taking puberty blockers, we can just put the brakes on the whole thing. And I don't care, all of you out there who think I'm against transitioning. I am not against transitioning in any way, shape, or form. So knock it off. I am 100% about a safe, sane, consensual transition for an adult, and no child can make this choice, okay? So we're going to out these crazy parents who think their children are trans at 2 and babies are trans and no, we're done. We're actually done. A lot of us are done with this. We're not going to play your game anymore. I'm going to leave you with something here. This is one of the videos I did specifically about all of these horrible trans surgeries. And it was a very hard video for me to make because I'm just appalled that this is considered a surgery. Look at this person's breasts. Look at that. Okay. And I'm going to hold on here. Let me just play a tiny little bit of this because I think I was reading what that person said. Yes, there's some swelling that will go away, probably, but there's loose skin in the middle and above my weird nipples, like someone spit some chewing gum on my chest. There seems to be too much tissue, or they took too much. Why would it goes on, and I have another one right here. Look at this. Look at this surgery. What? I'm going to put a link to this video so you can all go see why. Why is this happening? And it just goes on and on. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. I don't have a chest that looks like that. And I did mine 30 years ago. 30 years ago. They are just whipping this stuff out. There is no care. This is not, how could you call that gender affirming, life-saving care? How? And how can you discount all these young people who are getting this, who now hate themselves and probably do want to off themselves? You're creating a problem that never existed before. Trans community. So, I'm going to leave you all with this before I really start to cry, because it is the responsibility of adults. I don't care that I'm trans or whatever that. I'm an adult who's 62 years old and been to hell and back. And it is a responsibility for us to stand up for these kids. And if we don't stand up for them, nobody will. And we have disingenuous, crazy influencers who are making light of all of this and pretending like it's not happening. We need to expose them all and expose the grift that has now become trans, okay? And I will not. You know how emotional I get around this, because I couldn't even imagine if that was me. If that was me back in the day who did that to myself, I don't think I would be here today. And that's what people need to see. And there are many people who support my transition and many people who see me as a transsexual and understand that. But if we continue to do this stuff to little kids and to people who don't understand what they're doing, we're going to lose so much of what I have and the privilege that I have had to transition and walk this world. Okay. So with that, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for caring. Thank you for understanding that we have to put an end to this. And thank you for understanding how much I care about all of us, okay? And transitioning and trans and all of it. I care. I care about everything, but it needs to be real and it needs to be honest. And we have to stop lying to the world about what trans is, because we will have a bigger mess on our hands than you can ever. We already have. There's no way children should be dealing with. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about this insanity. I mean, really, come on. What would you expect? Of course this was going to happen. 110%. So we're going to talk about Nancy versus Sarah. So before we move forward here, because I got a couple of really good things to talk about, thank you so much for liking, subscribing. Thanks for joining my channel. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for helping the channel grow. I totally appreciate it. So I really, this is an important topic, and I saw this coming from a mile away, as a lot of us probably did. I want to bring up this real quick here. Here we go. A Republican congresswoman has introduced a bill to ban transgender women from using female bathrooms in the U.S. Capitol, just weeks after the first openly transgender lawmaker was elected to the House of Representatives. On Tuesday, South Carolina's Nancy Mace said her resolution was absolutely a response to the election of Sarah McBride, who will be sworn into office in January. McBride called the move a blatant attempt from far right-wing extremists to distract from the fact that they have no real solutions to what America is facing. Republicans campaigned heavily on opposing transgender rights during the election. At a closing rally, Donald Trump said he would keep transgender insanity the hell out of schools and men out of women's sports. The resolution introduced on Monday does not specifically mention McBride, but Mace told reporters on Tuesday that it's 100% because of McBride, according to the Washington Post. This is about women and our right to privacy, our right to safety, Mace said. I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. It's at the height of hypocrisy. So, like I said in the beginning, what did you all expect? Okay, I think both sides, to be honest with you, are just going at it. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I actually don't blame this situation. I'm going to keep saying it to the transgender community. You have to take some responsibility for this. When you let those people into our community because you said self-ID, anyone can be trans, it let predators in. And we have full-on proof of it. They've been posting it forever. So now women are mad because these predators went into locker rooms and pulled their penises out. And I just don't understand how you don't see why this is happening. Okay, I didn't say I agree with it, but I want you to understand why it's happening. Okay, it's happening for a reason. It's not just happening out of nowhere. I've been using the men's room forever. A lot of my trans women friends have been using the women's room forever. No one says anything because you walk in. Now, Sarah passes as a woman. If this thing wasn't all crazy and out of control, I bet you Sarah could have just showed up, used the woman's toilet, and nobody would have had a say-so in it. So I'm going to start with this video right here.
Hey everyone, I seemed to blow up the radical left last night. I filed a resolution that would ban biological men from women's private spaces on the Hill. I'm just getting started, and I've already nowhere near stopping, and the death threats that I'm receiving now aren't going to stop me either. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Come at me, bro. Or bros in this case. I'm not going to take your threats for an answer, and I'm going to fight like hell for women and girls to keep men out of women's private spaces, to include bathrooms, restrooms, locker rooms, changing rooms, you name it. You are not welcome.
So I don't understand why you don't see what she's saying. Okay, I really don't. Now, that being said, it sucks. It sucks for all of us, not just you. It sucks for me too. If you notice, this whole thing again is all about trans women. Never do they mention trans men. Never do they mention keep women out of the men's restroom. Never do they say that. There's a reason they don't say that, because you didn't see any of us go and act insane in male spaces. It was all of these predator men acting like they want to be women, and then just totally I think if everyone was like Sarah McBride, I don't think anybody would have actually had an issue with it and just gone about their business and been welcoming to whatever the situation was. So you have to, again, we've got to have some responsibility in this community for this nonsense, because now watch this.
Video goes out to Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Congresswoman Nancy Mace, I hope that one day I do find you in that woman's bathroom and I grab your ratty looking hair and drag your face down to the floor while I repeatedly bash it in until the blood's everywhere and you're dead. Thank you. I hope that Nancy Mace receives this message well. Kisses.
Disgusting. And you're acting like this is all transphobia. What is that? Why is that? I have seen so many videos prior to this whole thing here happening of these trans women threatening women constantly. Your man wants me. We're hotter than you. My vagina's better than yours. This is, I mean, just the stuff you have been saying to women. What? So I'm just going to keep saying it. I don't blame them. I do not blame them. And it's going to not only hurt you, it's going to hurt me too. Okay? Because now I have to have some integrity around this, and I can't use the men's room anymore because it would be hypocritical of me to do that when I'm sort of on some level agreeing with what's happening. Now, that being said, how do we get back to a space where we as transsexual people can walk the world as men and women and not get these kind of bills passed against us? Again, if you look at it, it's always about trans women. Here we go. So the trans women are hurting the trans men. I want you to really see that. Okay. Secondly, remember, I'm a female. I come to this with a whole different energy and a whole different space. So I'm not picking sides. So don't even start that nonsense. I am showing you why this is happening and why I'm so disgusted with the trans rights activists creating this problem. Now, I'm going to give Sarah a little bit of time here because I want you to see what she, and also both of them are saying the far right extremists, the far left extremists, the far, it's always about that. It's always been about that. Okay. I think a lot of you and I are really middle ground people. And now we are going to suffer because of these far, ideas going on. But again, I'm going to come back to, I don't blame the women in any way, shape, or form. They feel unsafe. Why aren't people hearing that? They feel unsafe because they have actually been attacked. I just showed you right there.
This is a weird and bizarre obsession with trans people on the part of the Republican Party. And I agree with Republican governors who, when presented with the spate of anti-LGBTQ bills passed in state legislatures across the country, said these are solutions in search of a problem. And that's what we have to be crystal clear about moving forward. Because whenever you see a politician or a political party focus in on an issue that impacts a handful of people in a handful of places,
it's not a handful.
You have to ask yourself why. And the answer to that is they are trying to distract. They are trying to distract from what they are actually doing. And over the next 4 years, every single time we see any member of the Trump-Vance administration talk about trans people, talk about immigrants, talk about Muslims, talk about any vulnerable group in this country, look what they're doing with their right hand. Because I can guarantee you at that same moment, they are working to pick the pockets of American workers.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this, okay? So I understand what Sarah is trying to say here. And again, Sarah, you have to remember your biology and where you were socialized and where you come from. You're not listening to women, okay? You're not. And if you really actually had some integrity, which I'm going to read something and I kind of think she does, you would just say, you know what, it's fine. I'll make a third bathroom and I'll just use that one. Okay. Make a other gender neutral bathroom, which I've been saying from day one, make a third toilet. We're all good. Let's move on. We shouldn't be spending this much time on toilet issues, but we need to spend time like this. If women are not feeling safe, we have to hear them. Okay. So So that's really where I stand in this space. Why are you not just listen to the women, Sarah? Okay. It's not just about trans people. There is a bigger picture here. Women have been feeling threatened by some of these very disingenuous trans women, and they have every right to feel that way. Okay. So I think you should also listen to women. Wanting to be a woman, you should be listening to women. So, and I'm not disagreeing that there's some distraction all the way around on some level, but at the same time, can we just move on, make a third toilet, move on, have some integrity with what you want to do, Sarah, and then we can get on. But I just want to read this real quick message from Sarah that says, I'm not here to fight about bathrooms. I'm here to fight for Delawareans and to bring down costs facing families. Like all members, I will follow the rules as outlined by Speaker Johnson, even if I disagree with them. There you go. Great. Take the high road. Awesome. So that means if it says she can't use the toilet in the women's, then she's not going to do it. She just said it right there. So that's great. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that very much. I want to bring this one last video up because this one is actually really important. You got to hear what she says.
So the question is, with your piece of legislation about banning women from
100%, yes.
my question to you is,
it doesn't go far enough. I'll be filing more bills.
You have said that it was created in response to Congresswoman-elect McBride.
100%. And
but should legislation be created targeted at one specific person?
It doesn't mention anyone in the legislation, but
you've said it was aimed at her.
No, I have said it's a result of this. I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no. I am not going to stand for it. And the Speaker said it would be in the House rules package. If it's not, I will be ready with a motion, a privileged motion to force a vote on this. This is not okay. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. And I'm not going to allow any man in any female private spaces.
Now, Speaker,
end of story. And by the way, I'm getting death threats from men pretending to be women. Why is it that these crazy people, the insanity, the radical left, are willing to kill women over a man's right to be in a women's restroom?
Speaker Johnson has said,
it's a great point. She first off, she's a survivor of SA. Come on, people. Listen, a lot of women are, by the way. Okay. So of course it's uncomfortable for men to be in the women's. Sarah is a biological male, period, people. Come on. I'm just like, get a grip here. And I do believe Sarah is trying to take the high road here. She just said, if they say she can't use it, she won't do it. But this is bigger than that. Okay. I already knew this was going to happen. You did and I did. So let's, as the trans community, take a little bit of responsibility for this, back up a little bit, okay? Understand what's going on here, and then maybe we can reevaluate the whole situation. But we've got to listen to, that woman is pissed. She is pissed, and she's in a position to actually change some laws. So if we want to continue to be part of this world together, we have to understand in our own community what has gone wrong, and we have to look at trying to fix that so these things don't happen and we can start to move forward again. Thanks again for watching. I totally appreciate it. You know, this is a very, very, very horrible situation that we're all in on some level, and I hope that we can find a solution real quick and we can get out back to figuring out the bigger main issues of what's going on in this country, and people can get back to having happy, beautiful lives.
I am non-binary, and a question people often ask me is, how does my wife, this is my wife, she's lovely, how does my wife refer to me when speaking to others? Am I her husband? Am I her wife? Am I her husband, wife, or partner? How do you refer to me? And I thought, well, why not ask you?
Hi. Yeah, no, I normally call them my wife. And that's mostly because I am as girly as they come. I look cis female and I am cis female, which generally tends to mean that if I use partner, everyone immediately jumps to making a set of assumptions about me and about my queerness and about my experiences that is sometimes safer. So like in particularly professional contexts, I'll normally use partner until I basically vetted people and gone, cool, using wife is not in fact going to cause an explosion. But equally, I like being able to go, look, I'm more girly, and everyone sort of expects a certain set of things from me, and then at exactly the right and normally just the funniest moment I can find going, wife, watching it impact, and watching the eyes of a middle-aged man go,
It's very, very enjoyable. And I don't mind. People have asked, is it dysphoric for me? Majority of the time, no. I think I've heard the phrase,
what?
any boy can be a baby girl, but it takes a man to be a wife. And it's also, it is understandable. And I think gender and these terms are very flexible. And I think people sometimes get very, very attached to what it has to mean. I've referred to myself as your wife. I've referred to myself as husband, but I say I'm.
Okay, enough of that. Like, what did they just say? Like, what were they talking about? I love that they said people like to get attached to identities, or you guys just threw out like a billion identities and like confusing. I think you're confused. First off, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do another good one today. Laughing at these what? I don't even know. I just think people need to feel special. That's what I think. I actually think people have to make up all these things. So if you're non-binary, then how can your partner be called your wife? Because isn't husband and wife in the binary space, or in the straight, I guess not straight. I guess, I call my wife, and I'm a female, but I mean, it's confusing, but I'm trying not to confuse you, right? Like, I mean, I guess in reality, we are lesbians, but the thing that's so funny is that, lesbians do call themselves wife, and wife, but like, do non-binary do that? See what I mean? It's literally going around in circles. And like, anyway, they just said it. They want to confuse you. They actually want to confuse you. It is the thing they get off on. It's their fetish. They have a fetish for it. They're fetishizing the whole LGBTQIA poo space, and everyone has to be better than the next person. Everyone has to push the boundaries more than the next person. Everyone has to be the first to do whatever they're doing, and so on and so forth. And that, actually, I hope I didn't give you a headache, because I got like a couple more to do here. So with that, let's move on. Thanks, you guys, for liking, subscribing, getting the belly ringy thing to know that I'm coming on, and all the things that happen here on YouTube. And let me remind YouTube, I'm a transsexual. I transitioned 32 years ago. And guess what? I get to have a say-so in this conversation. So please, I just beg of you, please just stop. Just, I know there's people coming at me here. I get it. But, if you want to make this a fair platform, you've got to give me an opportunity to have a different opinion here. So thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, let's move forward to the next one, because this one is actually going to blow your mind as well.
This two gender thing is it's getting totally out of control. This weekend I was getting shoes. I was at the mall getting shoes, and I got these shoes. Okay, I bring them up to the worker. I was like, hey, could I get an 8.5 in this? And they were like, sorry, do you mean 8.5 in men's or women's? Men's or women's? Really? Like, my freaking feet can't even be non-binary. My feet don't even have genitals, okay?
What?
So it's just crazy.
My feet don't have genitals. What are you talking about? You people are insane. Sorry, buddy, but the world is binary. Okay, you want to be non-binary, whatever that means to you. Just don't have the whole rest of the world can't participate in your lunacy. Sorry, but no, people aren't going to make non-binary shoes, or maybe they are, and then you could just buy the non-binary shoes. But that being said, the majority of the world is going to make male and female, because that's how it works. When I get asked what shoe I want size, I say men's, just so you know. And most people do. So I don't know what you're spinning out on. Again, they're spinning out on this stuff to make it a big deal. I can't exist because I'm non-binary. That's your choice to be non-binary. Okay, it's not a real thing. It's a choice to identify as. There's no such thing as non-binary in the actual real scientific sense of biological space. So if you don't want to go buy a pair of shoes because the dude selling you the shoes, okay, is going to ask you, the thing he needs to ask you in order to sell you the shoes is, do you want male or female size? Don't go buy shoes, okay? And figure it out and do it on the internet where you don't have to see anybody. And because that's really, anyway, I'm not going to get into it because it's just going to turn into it's just spinning. They want to spend. They just want to. I just, no other thing I can think of. Okay, this one is so great. I found this couple. They are like therapists or something, or like life coaches or one of those kind of scammy things. And they just say the most insane stuff, you guys, just insane. So this one really stuck out to me because it's actually absurd.
How to be the best ally for trans people? Pretend you're trans.
Next time you're in a restaurant, ask the host, "Hey, I'm trans. Which bathroom do I use?"
In a clothing store, ask, "I'm trans. Am I allowed to shop here?"
Buying plane tickets? "I'm trans. Will the TSA let me through without a strip search?"
In a hotel lobby, "I'm trans. Am I safe here or should I sleep in my car?"
At a doctor's office? "I'm trans. Will I get the same level of care as everyone else?"
Or write your government official, "I'm trans. Do I have the same rights today as I did yesterday?"
If this sounds absurd, imagine living it.
But if half the world's trans, what can they do?
If this sounds absurd, try living it. They're not even trans. So what are you talking about? The guy says he's not a gay man, but you know, we all have a little bit we have a little opinion about that. And the thing that is so bizarre to me is that you would say something so insane as to pretend you're trans. And then I started to think, wow, a lot of people are pretending they're trans now, aren't they? I really think that. And then these weirdos are like, am I safe in the hotel or should I sleep in my car? Oh, like sleeping in your car is safer than being in the hotel, you wingnut. Or also like going shopping. Do you help trans people here? Like most trans people who are actually really trans and have gender dysphoria don't want people to know they're trans. So they don't want to walk into the shopping mall and be like, is this place trans friendly? And then like everyone knows you're trans. Like this is how insane the whole space has gotten, you guys. It's just, I hope you're really seeing what I'm trying to show you here. The absurdity of it all. Okay. Absurdity, insanity, co-opting of space. It is now some kind of thing that is hip and cool to be trans. And if half the world, that's what they said, if half the world was trans, what are you talking about? If half the world became trans, we are screwed. We are so screwed. It's not even funny. So why don't you calm your little butts down, whatever you are, therapists, or you should lose your license. Actually, that's what I think. Okay, this one is going to be really good. You're going to love this one.
My name is Chel Donazi. I am one of the leaders of TQ Voices. My pronouns are she, her. I am a transgender woman, and according
shit.
to the fascistic regime, that alone makes me an enemy of the state. I realized I was transgender when I was 30 years old. I was not lucky enough to figure it out early. It took me 7 years to feel secure and knowledgeable enough to actually begin my transition. I only felt able to, thanks to the support of my wonderful partners, access to the consent-based healthcare that, despite everything, still somehow makes the United States one of the best places in the world to be trans, and the gradual acceptance of society. In other words, the community that I was blessed enough to be able to have at my back. When I came out 3 years ago, things were getting better. Now I find myself the target of one of the most focused genocidal campaigns in recent American history. On day one, Donald Trump declared my existence an abomination in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, right.
In 72 hours, I lost more rights than trans people have gained in the last 50 years.
Okay, buddy. I'm going to have to totally push back on you here. First off, let me tell you something, Mrs. You know what? BS. You have the rights you lost is because people like you, a fascist regime. I live in a fascist country. Oh, yeah. So the government's really going to want to help you because you're literally indoctrinating young people to become communist, fascist, Marxist, U.S. hating people. So yeah, sure, they're going to give you all kinds of rights. Secondly, you got rights. You can do whatever you need to do in this country as an adult. So stop acting like you don't have any health care. That is ridiculous. What's happening is they are now pulling back on puberty blockers for kids, letting kids be trans people and having surgery and hormones, and they're putting a cap on all this nonsense that's happening. But hey, you know what? If you don't have the money to transition, sorry, all of us had to do that back in the day, okay? And I'm still here, pretty much paying for my own medical, okay? So what happened was a lot of insurance companies aren't going to be dishing it out for you anymore. You caused that. You're responsible for that. Nobody else, because I and many of us fought to get this into an insurance space as a medical condition. And then you came along. It's not a disorder. Anyone can be trans. Why would insurance pay for something that's not a medical disorder? Answer that, Mr., Mrs., ma'am. Answer that, because you can't. Okay. So stop indoctrinating people into your fascist regime. Okay. Because you're the fascist, not this country. And if you don't like, you contradicted yourself as well. You're just like, in this fascist regime, but then it's the best place to live. Like, you people are just nuts. You're nuts and you're gross and you need to move on. And like, oh my God, it's just embarrassing. I'm not playing the whole thing because that one is just that one rubs me the wrong way, as you can pretty much see. And just so you know, YouTube, I'm not transphobic, okay? I'm an actual transsexual telling you this stuff, which I have a different opinion than these people have. So it's not transphobia. I have no fear of trans people in any way, shape, or form. I don't fear myself. What I fear is misinformation getting put out there, which you're letting happen, by the way. So let's okay, I have this last one for you here.
Hi, my name's Julian. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm here today because I am trans and I deserve to live, and I want to help protect all the trans kids that come after me.
Well, thank you so much. And yes, they can erase you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. And they will. So, and I'll be a part of that. So, look at this kid. This is obviously a trans kid, so they're under 18. I don't know how old they are. Look at all the buttons. Look at the thing around the neck. Okay. And then what did they say? They want to stay alive. And wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I got to replay this 1 second here. Hold on.
Hi, my name's Julian. My pronouns are he, they.
My pronouns are he, they, of course, because you can't figure out who you actually are.
And I'm here today because I am trans and I deserve to live.
Because I am trans, identity choice, not medical disorder, and they deserve to live. But you're alive. You're alive. No one's trying to take you out. No one's here to disrupt that. You're literally alive, and you literally get to say you're trans, and you literally get to say he, they. So what am I missing?
And I want to help protect all the trans kids that come after me.
Of course you do, because you want to indoctrinate a bunch of other ones coming behind you. But on my watch, that's not going to happen. And then the lady filming.
Well, thank you so much. And yes, they can erase you.
Thank you so much. They can't erase you. Watch. Just watch. We're going to help you, little kiddo. All of us here are going to help you, little kiddo, to understand that you're not trans and you're not a he, they. You're just a kid dealing with whatever, because the buttons and all the little trans stuff makes me know that it's just a party for you. And you're not struggling with stuff. You're struggling to fit in to a group of people. It's so obvious, because actual real transsexual people don't go around flying the flag and wearing the buttons and telling everybody that they're trans like it's a big party. Okay. So with that, it's just obnoxious, and it's just sad for me to see the young people just get indoctrinated into this thought process that, it's just gonna, we all know it. We all know it. All of us adults in the room know it. We can read the room, and the adults know this is just going to turn out so bad in the end. And all of us sitting here screaming, red flag. Like, we're just going to be, the worst part about it is we're all going to be like, told you so. Nobody wants to say that. I don't want to say I told you so. That's a horrible thing to ever have to say. But we know in the back of our heads, we're all going to be like, I told you so. And this is just going to be a nightmare. So thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you all so much. Let's just keep, like I said in the last one, chipping at it, right? And let's just keep sort of putting this out there and getting whatever we need to do to get to one person at a time who realizes I'm not trans. I'm just a kid who wants to belong to some group of people. And so if it was that simple, nobody would care that you were trans. But it goes from that to my body, to I have surgery, to I need hormones, to I need another surgery, to blah, blah, and it keeps moving on, okay? So dysphoria is a very horrible place to be in. It's not fun, and you have to realize the commitment you're taking on when you do this.